Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by gentle hills and thick woods, there lived a wise old man named Grandpa Ben. Grandpa Ben was known for his gentle smile, his hearty laugh, and the endless stories he told his grandchildren whenever they visited his little cottage. His grandchildren, Lily, Tommy, and Jake, adored him and looked forward to spending weekends at his home. One sunny Saturday morning, the children arrived at Grandpa Ben's cottage, bursting with excitement. The air was filled with the scent of pine trees and the distant sound of birds chirping. As they ran into the house, Grandpa Ben welcomed them with a warm hug and a twinkle in his eye. "Grandpa, can we go to the forest today?" asked Lily, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Yeah. I want to build a fort," added Tommy, his face lit up with excitement. "And I want to find some cool rocks," exclaimed Jake, always the curious one. Grandpa Ben chuckled. "Of course, my dears. But first, I need your help with something important." The children exchanged curious glances. What could Grandpa Ben possibly need help with? He was always so self-sufficient, always so prepared. Grandpa Ben led them outside to the garden. There, among the blooming flowers and the buzzing bees, was a large pile of leaves, twigs, and other garden debris. "You see," Grandpa Ben began, "this pile has been sitting here for weeks. I've been meaning to clear it, but my old bones aren't what they used to be. I could really use your help." The children groaned. Clearing the garden didn't sound nearly as fun as exploring the forest. "But Grandpa," Tommy whined, "we came here to have fun, not to do chores." Lily nodded in agreement. "Can't we do it later? It's such a beautiful day." Grandpa Ben smiled, but there was a seriousness in his eyes that the children hadn't noticed before. "I understand, children. But sometimes, we must take care of our responsibilities before we can enjoy ourselves. If we leave this mess, it could attract pests or even damage the plants." The children sighed, reluctantly agreeing to help. As they worked, they began to bicker. Tommy complained that Jake wasn't doing his share, while Lily insisted that she was doing most of the work. The more they argued, the slower their progress became. Grandpa Ben watched quietly from the porch, letting them sort things out on their own. After a while, he called them over. "Come, sit with me for a moment," Grandpa Ben said, patting the bench beside him. The children, tired and frustrated, plopped down next to their grandpa. "Do you know why this task feels so hard?" Grandpa Ben asked. "Because it's boring?" Jake offered. "Because it's not what we wanted to do," added Lily. Grandpa Ben shook his head gently. "No, my dear ones. It's because instead of working together, you're focusing on what others aren't doing. You're blaming each other instead of taking responsibility for your own actions. When you point fingers and say, 'You're the problem,' it makes everything harder." The children looked down, realizing that Grandpa Ben was right. They had spent more time arguing than actually working. "Let me tell you a story," Grandpa Ben continued. "When I was a young boy, I had a best friend named Samuel. We did everything together, played, studied, even got into a bit of mischief now and then. One day, we were asked to help clean the barn. It was a big job, and neither of us wanted to do it. We started blaming each other for how slow it was going. 'You're not sweeping right,' I'd say. 'You're not lifting that bale properly,' he'd say. Before we knew it, we had wasted hours arguing. Then my father came in and said something that I've never forgotten. He said, 'When you spend more time blaming others, you waste time you could be using to make things better. Focus on what you can do, and everything else will fall into place.' We took his advice, and you know what? The work got done in no time, and we even had fun doing it." Grandpa Ben looked at his grandchildren, who were listening intently. "The lesson is this: when you take responsibility for your actions and do your best, everything becomes easier. You stop seeing others as the problem and start seeing how you can contribute to the solution. And when everyone does their part, the work gets done faster, and there's more time for fun." The children sat quietly, absorbing Grandpa Ben's words. Finally, Lily spoke up. "I'm sorry, Tommy and Jake. I shouldn't have blamed you. Yeah, me too, Tommy added. I'll try to do better. Me three, Jake chimed in, smiling sheepishly. Grandpa Ben grinned, his heart swelling with pride. That's the spirit. Now, let's finish this together, and then we'll have the whole day to explore the forest. With renewed energy and a better attitude, the children returned to the garden. This time, they worked together, helping one another and encouraging each other. The pile of debris quickly disappeared, and soon the garden was clean and tidy. As they put away the tools, Grandpa Ben clapped his hands. Well done, my dears. Now, let's grab our gear and head to the forest. There's an adventure waiting for us. The rest of the day was filled with laughter and excitement as they explored the forest, built a fort, and discovered all sorts of treasures. But the most valuable treasure of all was the lesson they had learned from their wise grandpa. As the sun began to set and the children prepared to leave, Grandpa Ben gathered them in a warm embrace. Remember, he said softly, when you focus on what you can do and work together, there's nothing you can't achieve. The children nodded, their hearts full of love and gratitude. And so, they left Grandpa Ben's cottage with smiles on their faces, carrying with them a valuable lesson that they would remember for the rest of their lives. The end.